Well, hello everyone. It's been a minute, but I wanted everybody to have a Christmas and there wasn't much weather going on, so I just took a little break. I hope that was okay. But welcome in on this Friday, December, I almost said September, December 26th. I'm Chris Allen, and this is 270 weather. Weather for the 270 area code and beyond. Thank you for tuning in. It's a pretty pleasant evening out there. It's been a really nice day. I mean, as far as the warmth, it hasn't been a lot of sunshine. It's been fairly quiet except for a bit of a breeze, but otherwise, it's been not that bad. If you think about here it is, the 26th of December, and we have temperatures that are in the 60s, near 70. That's unusual. It's happened before, yes, been a few times when it's happened, but it is, just a little bit unusual. But now my focus is going on what's going to happen on Sunday. Now, I will tell you that tomorrow for your Saturday, if you're wanting to do something outdoors, you should be fine. It's going to be a nice day, warm, mix of clouds and sunshine. I think we're going to see some patchy, dense fog later tonight. And in the morning, the winds are going to calm down tonight. And we're going to have some maybe partial clearing in parts of the Commonwealth and the 270. But this will be kind of the calm before the storm. Sunday is going to be a really um, unusual day. Let me just put it to you that way. And I know some of you are waiting for me to say severe day, but I'm not going to go there because I really don't think at this point, I'm not very confident that Sunday will be severe in the aspect that we think of it, in the way that we define it here in Southern Kentucky. I think there will be lots of wind. I think that's going to be the number one thing. The wind component on Sunday as this front comes through, we're going to have gusty winds. There's no doubt about that. We could also have a record breaking temperature, which I'll discuss more on in just a moment. And then we're going to have, here's number three. The third thing that's going to happen is, besides rain, we're going to experience about a 40 to 50 degree drop in temperature, all within the same day. And then, fourth, there could be a little bit of snow on the backside of this system late Sunday night, maybe Monday morning, but within a 24-hour period. So, Sunday, I want you to think Sunday is going to be the day to watch for all kinds of weather. I mean, everything but the kitchen sink, it sounds like, is going to come our way. More on that in a moment. Let's check the numbers from today, which, like I said, it wasn't a bad day at all. And look at this. For December 26th, you have a high of 68. So we almost hit 70 again. Same high temperature as yesterday. 21 degrees warmer than normal. The normal now is 47. The low of 64, notice it's only 4 degrees from the high temperature, 68, 64. The thermometer is kind of stuck right there. And it's not moving much, and really it's not going to move much tomorrow or tonight or tomorrow until that next system comes in, which is going to be Sunday. That's when we think we're going to surpass 70 degrees and maybe even break a record. Tonight, I think we'll get there's a little front that's coming through. I'll show you that, but it may cool us down into some of you in the 50s for an overnight low, but I don't think it's going to get a whole lot cooler than that unless you live close to the Ohio River. Northern Kentucky, you're more likely to be in the 50s for an overnight low tonight. But if you live in Bowling Green, Southern Kentucky, and near the Tennessee border, even if you're in the 615, Middle Tennessee, I think your low is going to be closer to 60 or low 60s. All right. Let's go to the first, this outlook. Now, I know some of you, and here it is 7 o'clock, and some people will be joining us here. You got the preview. Those of you that have been, there's 150 or so joined in right now, and more will be coming here in a moment now that it's 7 o'clock. So I'm saving all the best parts until people start joining in a little bit more. But here we go, and this is probably the thing that's raised a red flag for everybody that saw any of like my broadcast today on News 40, or if you watch Scott on News 40 this evening, you will note that green shaded area that we have talked about, and is kind of raising, some concern that we could be looking at some severe weather on Sunday. Well, let me just kind of break this down for you. Yes, we're in this area that is a level 1 marginal risk. You see the color up here at the top of the screen. It says marginal risk, this color, darker green. The lighter green is just your garden variety general risk of a thunderstorm. Now, the Storm Prediction Center, SPC, Storm Prediction Center, has outlined this area because there will be some places, especially back to the west, that could see some severe thunderstorms. But for us, I think this is going to be more of a precautionary risk. It's on the lowest level. That level, marginal risk, is a level 1. It is the lowest risk out of all the risks. Okay. Now let's read what the forecast discussion and from the Storm Prediction Center, their outline and their thinking on what's going to happen on Sunday. So what they're saying is a marginal risk of severe thunderstorms over portions of the mid-Mississippi and Ohio valleys. That would be us. Isolated, okay? Isolated severe thunderstorms. A lot of you probably don't know what isolated means. Isolated means there's going to be one here and maybe one over here. In other words, isolated, if you isolate yourself, you're by yourself. So when the Weather Service or anybody like this says there's an isolated thunderstorm risk, then, or for severe weather, they're saying that there's just going to be these little places where there could be a severe thunderstorm by itself. Okay? This is possible Sunday into Sunday night from the southern Great Lakes into parts of the Ohio mid-Mississippi valleys. Okay? So we'll look at our area. It's got a whole, I'm not going to read this whole thing. So here we go. There's going to be a positively tilted upper trough. Now, this is key. When we see this, and I'll tell you how this works. When we look at the computer forecast models, Sometimes we will see a trough where there's a cold front, a little dip. We'll see them either tilted this way or tilted this way. And that makes a difference. There's a big difference there. And it really is something we key in on or keep our eyes on when we see that in the computer forecast models. So when it's positively tilted, that's usually a good thing. That means there is a trough, but it's tilted to, if you're looking at me, then it's tilted to the right on the map. If you're looking at a map right here, it would be positively tilted to the right. Now, if it was negatively tilted, it would be tilted to the left. That's not a good thing. That means that system has a lot of potential energy to produce severe weather. A positively tilted trough means there could be little isolated severe storms, and most of the storms are going to be elevated. And you've heard me talk about elevated storms before. It's right there along a warm front. A warm front naturally lifts the moisture, and you get the thunderstorms that are kind of going on above us. You can see the lightning, you can hear the thunder, but it's not surface based. So this is why I say this outlook is a precautionary measure from the Storm Prediction Center. Now, this forecast, as they're saying here, is going to undergo substantial amplification. Here we go with the $5 words. I wish they wouldn't do this, but it gives me a chance to explain again. Troughs, tilts, amplification. So as this system is moving east, low pressure system that's attached to it is going to strengthen. And if you watched me a couple of nights ago, I was showing you that low that was kind of traveling through the Great Lakes coming in for Sunday. And I said, notice how it deepens, it gets stronger. That's what they're talking about. That trough attached to that low pressure system is going to amplify, it's going to strengthen. And that's all this means. So, because of that, even though we've got a positive tilt and not a negative tilt, they're kind of going, something could sneak in there and we may have to, touch a warning or two because this thing's going to behave badly in a few isolated places. Basically, that's what they're saying. I wish they would just explain it that way, but government, there you go. So here they say the corresponding surface low will quickly intensify. This is what I just said. As it moves eastward from Kansas, Missouri, across northern Illinois, a trailing cold front will also strengthen. With low-level moisture transport ahead of the front, and this is key right here. Let me just highlight this right here. 50 and 60 degree dew points. I'm going to show you this in a moment, aiding in modest destabilization Sunday evening. So what this means is there's going to be this little sliver of higher dew points that are not usually here in the wintertime. 50 to 60 degree dew points. It doesn't really go any higher than that. I've already checked, but it's enough. As the front strengthens, as the low deepens, and we tap into that little tongue, if you will, little stripe of 50 to 60 degree dew points, something could happen. But let me get ahead of you before you even start thinking December 2021. We're not going there. This is not that. Okay? So this is not going to be up all night, pace the floor kind of stuff like December 2021. This is going to be, again, very isolated probability that something could happen with a severe thunderstorm warning, a tornado warning. I mean, uh, that's just really difficult to say at this point. If there's enough, a little spin, it could be just something small. You've seen this happen before. In fact, it happened a few weeks ago. It's kind of the same setup. All right. Remember, I talked about elevated thunderstorms instead of surface based? Here it is. Elevated convection is likely to be ongoing over the Missouri Valley in the early period of Sunday with strong low level theta E advection. Now, again, here we go with the all the $5 terms and words and all that. All this means is there's enough energy to tap into with the strengthening of the front and the deepening of the low and the available moisture and relative humidity and dew points. There's going to be advection. There's going to be this, enhancement, elevated convection as it comes in. It says here, even this convection may remain elevated for much of the day as it tracks along a stalled frontal boundary. And by the way, there is actually a phasing of two fronts that is going to happen. I noticed this when I was looking at some of the models today, that you've got two fronts basically that are almost aligned with each other, and they're going to phase together. That's also going to help develop this severe weather threat. Now, hopefully, you're starting to get the reason why they put out this outlook. Somebody's already asked, is it going to go slight risk, level 2, or enhanced risk, level 3? I don't think so. I just don't think so. It does say here some elements may eventually become near surface based with weak mu cape. That's at certain levels of the atmosphere. How much convective available potential energy? That's what CAPE stands for. It's an acronym. And it says here the potential energy possibly supporting a few stronger gusts near the surface. I still think the number one threat with this area is going to be damaging wind potential. Okay. So that's basically what they're saying here. And like I said, I could read the whole thing, but there's really no point. All you need to know is there's going to be potential wind, enough, 40, 50 mile per hour winds when that cold front comes through Sunday night to touch off a little bit of wind damage, maybe a power outage for somebody. And maybe if there's just enough energy, there could be a little spin up. Brief, small, short lived, little spin up. But this is not going to be, again, the up all night, pace the floor kind of situation. All right. So I hope that you guys understand now why these things are happening. And what really cheeses me about anybody that does what I do and post a video like me, and they never take the time to explain what all this means, they're doing you a disservice. And to the yahoos that hype it up on social media and they post these big maps and colors and hype it up and just tell you, oh my God, this is going to be so huge and so big and so terrible. And then when it comes time for this thing to happen, you're like, what happened? I thought it was supposed to be, like really bad. Nothing happened. It grinds my gears, ladies and gentlemen. This is why I'm here, to help you understand the complex and so that you're not walking around pacing the floor in fear every time some map like this comes up. I don't want you to be that way. It's ridiculous that you have to put up with people that just absolutely don't know what they're talking about. All right, I'll move on. I'm going to show you a couple of models here while we're here. Um, I'm gonna go into the North American model. It's called the NAM, and I'm gonna show you. Let me go up to. This is going to be about hour 50. What 7? Yeah, that's close enough. Okay, so this is the latest model run that just came out, and it's for. This is dew point. I'm showing you dew points. This is, in other words, the amount of juice that we need in order to have potential severe weather. And in the wintertime, when you start to get, let me center this over Bowling Green, when you start to get dew points in the upper 50s to low 60s, that's something that we pay attention to. That's something that's kind of not necessarily a red flag. You got to have all the other triggers too, but one of the first things I look for is high dew point. And this is 9 o'clock p.m., 9 p.m. on Sunday. So here we go. The dew point, 9 p.m. on Sunday, is forecast to be 58 degrees. Let's go a step further. And this is midnight. It's still at 58. Let's go a step further. And 3 o'clock in the morning, it's fallen to 35. What's happening? Well, I would say that's a cold front, wouldn't you? I mean, look, when the dew points start to, whew, yeah, that's a good thing. That is a good thing. Let me back it up just a little bit more from what I had. Let's go back. This would be 6 p.m. Sunday. And you can see we do have the blue. That would be your 60-degree dew points. You can see that over Bowling Green, much of southern Kentucky, high dew points in the upper 50s, right at 60 degrees. Again, we're going to be in that, oh, we're almost there, but we're not quite there. Okay. So by just looking at this, it tells me that yes, there's going to be some higher dew points, especially west of us. And the timing of this, keep in mind, the timing of the potential severe weather for us in the 270, the 615, the 502, and say the 901, Western Tennessee, is going to be after dark. That's a good thing because that also cuts down on instability. Not that there's a lot of instability, but there will be enough, like I said, just enough to maybe do something. So let me run this up again. There's 6 p.m. Sunday, 9 p.m. Sunday. Notice how it weakens. And then we go midnight Sunday into early Monday morning. This is when the cooler air, not just cooler air, colder air, starts to move in. And you see there by 3 a.m. Monday morning, dew points will fall into the mid 30s, low 30s by 6 a.m. Monday morning. Look at how low the dew points are going to get. I mean, this is signaling the big change, the big crash in temperature. In fact, I can go back. Let's go back, and I can show you temperature. Let's do this. Here's a look at temperature, and you can see what it's reading. So we're back to 6 p.m. Sunday night. Rain, wind, maybe storms, 62. Then we go 9 p.m., 60. We go midnight, 61. Here is 3 a.m. Monday morning. We go from 61 to 38 in a matter of 3 hours. How about 35 at 6 a.m. when you get up Monday morning? With the wind blowing, we're going to have wind chills that are going to be colder than that. Here's 9 a.m. Monday morning, a temperature projected 30. Then you see as we go through the day on Monday, oh, look how cold it gets. Here's 29, 26. This is 6 p.m. Monday night, 24. Whew. And here's midnight, Monday night into Tuesday morning, 23 degrees. So we're going to go from really 70s early Sunday to 20s. This is that 40 to 50 degree drop in temperature that we're talking about. That's going to happen. All right. Let me look at, let's see if the wind gust. Okay, let's go back and look at the wind gust. I want to cover these things because I want you to know really what we're looking at here. So we go back to Sunday night, potential wind gust. Here's 6 p.m., 32. Then we go 38. Then we go 44. This is midnight Sunday into early Monday. Potential wind gust of 40 plus miles per hour. Here's 3 a.m., still about 40 miles per hour in Bowling Green. And then the winds start to calm down because the front will then be east of us. But there's still, look behind this, there's still a lot of breezy winds back behind the system once it even passes through, and it's going to be a cold, cold wind. Now, let's go back and let me show you potential radar. We call it composite reflectivity. This may not be exactly what the radar looks like, but it's potentially, just based on all this information, what the radar is going to look like. So here we go. Here is 6 p.m. Sunday night, 9 p.m. Sunday night. Here comes the line. We're going to see a nice little tight line, almost looks like maybe two lines there. And this happened the last time. Remember that a couple of weeks ago? We had the same thing, two little lines, and they joined together, remember? I covered it here, severe weather, live when it happened. Two lines came together as one, and then they weakened, and it was pretty much no big deal. Here we go, 12 midnight, Sunday night into Monday morning. Here's the line coming through Bowling Green, weakening. Look at it weakening as it goes into early Monday morning. Then it moves out. Here's the thing. This thing is going to move. This thing will be booking. It's not going to waste any time getting through here. It's going to go through really, really quickly. And that's really a good thing. Okay. So I wanted to do this. I know I spent a lot of time on it, but I wanted to do this so that you guys can get a really detailed look at what's coming. Yes, there's potential for severe weather. Yes, there's potential for some wind damage. And yes, there could be some of these little short fuse, what we call a short fuse warning that comes out. It's not a big deal. Not a big deal. This happened a couple of weeks ago, and I think we're going to be just fine once we get through that. All right. I do have some more maps to show you, which if you stick around, then I'll get to that. I just want to bring us up to date on where we are right now and where we are today, because everything that's happening right now will factor in to what happens Sunday. Okay? So that's why it's important to look at where we are now and where we're going to go. So right now it's 7:24 is the current time here in Bowling Green, and we have temperatures in the 60s. 60, low 60s, pretty much everywhere. How warm did it get today? Let me get the temperatures here. Maximum temperature, mid 60s, and I mentioned that we made it to 68 officially here at the Bowling Green Airport, and most of you got close to that. I don't see any 70s. Oh, yeah, there's 70s. Far western Kentucky, Graves County, Mayfield hit 70. Fulton County, Hickman, right on the Mississippi River, made it up to 72 today. And then Ballard County, La Center, Kentucky, made it up to 71. So there were your 70-degree temperatures. What was the coolest temperature of the day? You're not going to see much of a change. Most everybody made it into or went down into the low 60s. Like I said, there was only a 4-degree difference between our high temperature in Bowling Green of 68 and the low of 64. That's just a 4-degree difference. How much rainfall? Nothing really. Trace amounts. We had some drizzle and sprinkles about noon that I recall here in Bowling Green. Turn on the wiper and it went across one time, a second time, and that was it. Winds. They've been a little breezy. Right now they're coming out of the south, light. And because the winds are calming down now, the way we have it set up tonight, for those of you that did pick up a little bit of moisture and some of that, what we call sweating, it's been going on. The roads are sweaty and damp and all that. I think that it's going to set us up for some fog tonight and early tomorrow morning. So just be aware of that. Okay, let's go to the surface maps. Here's the setup. We've got the warm air. We're in the warm air sector. There's your warm front out to the east, and here is where it's really, really warm. Now tonight, this little system right here, it's not a very potent system. It is going to kind of lay across the northern half of Kentucky tonight, and it's going to make the northern half of Kentucky a little cooler than it will be over the southern half of Kentucky. So that's why I said at the beginning, some of you north of Bowling Green, say as you get up toward E-Town, that's a good kind of center point. You get up to E-Town and north of there, you're more likely to have lows tonight in the 50s, while Bowling Green further south and the Tennessee border is likely to have lows in the 60s. But if that front settles in just a little more south, then I really think because of that cooler air over the warm air, we're really going to have some fog tonight and tomorrow. And there it is. See, look, now this has got the front laying right across Bowling Green. So it's got it coming down a little further south. And look at all the places predicting fog tonight. So this is midnight. Here's 6 a.m. tomorrow. And look at that. Foggy everywhere. We're going to need a foghorn, leghorn. I say, son. We're going to need a foghorn. Just be aware. Most likely, there's going to be a dense fog advisory issued for pretty much this entire area late tonight and early tomorrow. The fog could be very, very thick. Just kind of plan on it. There's the front kind of laying parallel to the Kentucky-Tennessee border tomorrow morning, 6 a.m. Now, as we get into the day, pretty quiet. It's going to be a good day if you need to get outdoors and do something. No rain, really. There could be a drop here and there, but for the most part, we're not going to see any rain. We could even see A few breaks in the clouds, mix of sun and clouds, and warm. We're going to get up to 70, maybe 72 or so. But then here comes the setup, the setup for Sunday. This is 6 p.m. Saturday evening. Frontal boundary comes in, more warm air. And they've got part of this, the end of this warm front depicted as a stalled boundary. And that's key because the boundary will try to stall and wait on this system. This is the main system that's going to come in for Sunday. So what it's going to do, it's almost like putting the brakes on the system moving in. And this system has been delayed a couple of times on when it was actually going to come through. If you'll recall, early this week before Christmas, we said that the system coming in this weekend would come in Saturday afternoon, Saturday evening, and then turn colder early Sunday. Well, now it's been really delayed about another 24 hours. So now it's going to be Sunday night into Monday morning before the really much colder air takes over. But let me tell you, it's going to. I mean, all you got to do is look back here toward the Rockies and you see it. you can see right there what's coming. We're not going to get all that snow. Don't worry about that. But the cold that's making it snow, oh boy, are we going to get it. All right, let's go on. Here's Saturday evening at 6 p.m. We go to 6 a.m. Sunday. We begin to see showers, especially north of us. And look at the wind. See those lines? Those are isobars, equal lines of barometric pressure. And when they're tightly packed, that means windy. It is going to be a windy day on Sunday. And I think you're fine Saturday morning if you're concerned about church, going to church. I think you're going to be fine. It's just going to be windy. You'll need some extra hairspray or hair gel or whatever you use. Aquanet is what my mom used. Anyway, and it worked because she had a beehive hairdo like Marge Simpson, and she would spray that thing down, and we would walk through the house and choke and cough and carry on. I'll have to show you pictures sometimes of my mom back in the 70s, and she had that beehive. But I'll never forget, she had cans and cans and cans of Aquanet. She loved it. Here we go. Windy, and you can tell the winds are coming out of the south and west. Gusty southwest winds. This is Sunday morning. Here comes our system, and look at the cold air. And look at the lines. Even tighter back here. Whew. I mean, it's going to be almost blizzard-like conditions back on the eastern side of the Rockies and into the plains. Nasty. For us, rain, warmth, showers. Now, the critical time, and maybe critical is too strong of a word. The prime time, there we go. The prime time that we need to be kind of looking at what's taking shape and how this system is behaving is going to be any time after 5, 6 p.m. Sunday evening till about midnight, 1 a.m., depending on where you are. Because here comes the front, and it's going to be fast moving. Out ahead of it, there will be showers, perhaps enough energy for, as I read to you, an elevated thunderstorm. Because by this point, it'll be after dark, and there's not going to be an opportunity for surface-based thunderstorms. In other words, sun heating up the earth, and you get the lift, and you get those like summertime, springtime-like thunderstorms. Will be after dark when this thing happens. And therefore, There won't be surface-based energy. It'll be elevated energy. So elevated thunderstorms, there will be an active low-level jet, though, near the surface. Winds will quickly change direction. It's hard to see, but you see the isobars here ahead of the front. The winds are coming from the southwest. See that? You barely see it. Let me change maps because that way you can see it better. Map format. Let me change to, no, that one won't work. Because I want you to be able to see, that may help, the lines. Nah, it didn't help. Okay, yeah, you can, a little bit better. So you see the winds coming out of the southwest ahead of the front. There's the trough. See that bend right there? That's where the cold front's coming through. And notice behind the front, the winds are coming from the north and northwest. And look how tightly packed those winds are. Oh, boy. Now, behind the front, or as the front passes through, that's when the gustiest, the strongest of the winds are going to pass through. So we're looking at any time after 5, 6 p.m. to the western part of the state, to here in Bowling Green, probably 9, 10 o'clock Sunday evening till about midnight, and then after midnight over in the eastern part of the state. And then the cold air starts to take over. There won't be an instant change from rain to snow, but I do think there will be a little quick hit of either a mix or over to snow with leftover moisture as the colder air takes over, because the temperature is going to drop rapidly. Here's 6 a.m. Monday morning, and there we go. Look at that. And look at the winds. Woo! Look at those isobars just kind of scrunched in there. That means it's going to be windy. And then you see the purple, that's an indication of rain mixed with snow. And depending on temperature, it could be all snow. Let me get back there. Where'd it go? This thing resets on me every so often. So there. So this is Monday morning. Boy, oh boy, when you get up to go to work Monday morning, blah, 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 windy, cold, maybe snowflakes. I don't think there will be accumulation or any kind of thing like that. It's not going to have enough time. The roads, the grass, the sidewalks, it's going to be too warm, because earlier we were in the 70s and now we're in the 20s. And so I don't think there's going to be enough time for things to get icy, because as you see here, this is 6 a.m. Tuesday morning. All of it's gone. The wind settled down. Here's Wednesday. Here is New Year's Day. Not much going on. I think there will be some clouds. New Year's Day will be probably mid-30s. Chilly, yes. Here's Friday, next Friday. There you go. Now, let's go to the European model, and I will show you. Look at all this warm air. Here comes our low right there, 1,000 millibars. And I want you to see how this thing is going to deepen as it moves across. So here we go into tomorrow. And here we go into Sunday. Now it's at 1,001. Now it's at 999. This is Sunday. Sunday midday. Showers for us. Here comes the big trough. You see it right there. Now watch. Millibars on that low, that L. 996. 994. 990 as a line of showers and wind and potential thunderstorms moves into western Kentucky, and this is going to be about the time I told you, Sunday night at around, say, 9 p.m. 985, the low continues to deepen. As the numbers go down, that means it's deepening, it's getting stronger. Look at these incredible winds on the backside of that low, and look at all the snow wrapping around Lake Michigan and Wisconsin, Minnesota, Chicago, and eventually Detroit. They'll start out with rain and then go over to snow. 985 millibar, stronger low pressure system. And even here, look at all those lines. Windy. It would not surprise me if we have wind gusts of 40, 45, 50, and in some cases, if we do get enough energy to produce maybe a severe storm, winds could go closer to 60. I think there will be some minor wind damage if that happens. Then the storms would be classified as severe because you have to have winds of 58 miles per hour or higher to be called a severe thunderstorm. So this is Sunday night. This would be closer to midnight. 979 millibar, that low. Whew. 974. It just keeps getting bigger, stronger. 971. Oh, my goodness. This is Monday morning. Be thankful that that low is not down here, is all I got to say. Now, our weather will be done by then, but it's still going to be windy on Monday and very cold. Notice the rain snow line is well south of us as this thing just, it's wound up like a top. 970, 974. Now it's going to start to maybe strengthen a little bit, excuse me, as it goes into southern Canada. Sorry, I had to take a drink. I know I'm talking too much. But there you get the idea of just how strong that system is going to be. And we're far south of that thing, but it's still going to be strong enough to do what it's going to do for us. And mainly the wind is going to be the component. Now, the severe thunderstorm marginal risk, as you see, is there on day 3. That's Sunday. Before then, no severe weather. You can see here how, say, tomorrow, we're going to have a partly cloudy day. As we get started early in the morning, temperatures will be in the 50s and 60s. But then let me move ahead. Look how warm it gets in the afternoon, around 70. The winds, they're still out of the southeast at gusts of 10, maybe 15. Then the winds really, here's Sunday, the winds really start to pick up from the south. And you see, now the gusts are starting to get in the 20s. Look at the temperatures getting well into the 70s. The record high for Sunday is 72. And we may get to 76. It's showing here 73, 74, 74, 73. This is in the afternoon, late afternoon, when it's still mainly sunny, winds picking up. Now, 72 is the record for Bowling Green on Sunday, and it looks like we could exceed that by 2, 3, 4 degrees. So, looks like we will set a new record high for Sunday, the 28th of December. Now we start to see after 5, 6 o'clock, just like I was showing you, this is when the rain and maybe the thunderstorms start to move in. Now we see the precipitation goes from 25% to 81% to 97%. And this is late Sunday, and here we are, midnight into Monday morning. Now I want you to look. 70s, 60s, gusty winds. Look at the wind direction change from southwest to west to northwest at the same time. You can visibly see early Monday morning, we go from 63 to 58 to 51 to 45 to 40 to 30s, and it just keeps going. And then we start to get a wind chill. In a matter of just several hours, we start to get wind chills that feel like they're in the 20s. Yeah. I'm telling you, this is going to be something that, and you can see it right here, warm, 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 and then crash, 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 crash. Look at how chilly it's going to be. Look at it next Friday. We go from 25 to 17. Whew. Yeah. Wind chills, nasty. Winds, there's your wind gusts for Sunday night into Monday morning as the front passes through. Thunder, there's just not much there. It's just, I really am not worried that much about lightning and thunder. This doesn't look like one of those systems. How much rain would we pick up? You see 3,600s there, plus 1,300s. So we're talking, well, pretty close to a half inch. Pretty close to a half inch. Very wet and humid, like we are now, humid dew points tomorrow, Sunday, and then early Monday, all the dew points come crashing down. And look at the drier air taking over. We're talking about dew points in the teens and single digits next week. By 1 week from today, January 2nd, we're going to have single digit dew points, which means it's going to be extremely dry. Extremely dry. Okay? Just another way to show you what's going on. Here is the model blender. Now, this is what you're used to seeing if you watch my podcast at all. We go from, say, near 70, and I think we could go 71, 72 tomorrow. But look at that, 75 Sunday. And that would be set early in the day. The beginning of Sunday is actually going to be nice. It'll be warm and breezy. But the rain part won't come until later. So I think you're going to be fine going to church and doing things the first half of the day. It's the second half of Sunday when things start going downhill. But check it out. We go from 75, that would be a new record. High temperature for December 28th for Bowling Green. We go from 75 to 30. Then we're only going to get up to 35 Monday with wind chills in the teens and 20s with the gusty winds. Then Monday night, as the winds settle down and skies clear, we're going to get down to 20. Wouldn't surprise me if somebody ends up in the upper teens. Tuesday morning, then you see 30s, 40s. It's going to be cold for the end of 2025 and the first week of 26. It's going to be cold. But here's the other piece of reality that I don't want to tell you, but it's the truth. Those 40s that you see there, that's where we're supposed to be. Well, okay, a little warmer. We're supposed to be like 47, but it's close. But the reason why we think this is going to be really, really cold, and it is cold, but the reason why we think it's going to be, oh my gosh, this is just going to be terribly cold, is because we've had temperatures in the 60s and now 70s for several days, and we think, oh, this feels so good. It's tropical. It feels nice. We went through Christmas and it was awesome. And now you look at these numbers and you're like, whoo, what is happening? Well, it's just reality is settling back in, and it's going to be with us next week. So just get ready because here it comes. Oh my goodness. I've been on here almost an hour. What the heck? I just got to talking and sorry, I did not mean to do that. Let's get a few of your comments in here. Tina, so Sunday's going to be, he's got a little frozen guy. Yep, it's going to be. Sorry. Sally, Aquanet was aerosol lacquer. Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's going to put a hole in the ozone, they told us. Ugh. Yeah, that stuff was strong. Yeah, tell me about it. I had to breathe it. Linda, so no snow. Yay. No. Well, there could be just this little bit on the backside of that system, just a little bit. Um, so wind is what we've got coming. Yes, mostly wind. So yeah. Let's see. Looking through some of the comments here. Uh, somebody told me that. Oh, yeah, only, okay. Now we're getting some, and thank you for some of you are giving me kudos for this and that and taking the time to explain, and I appreciate that. Um, so yeah, I just feel like, see, I don't have all this time on television. I get 2 to 3 minutes to explain the weather on television. And that's why this is so important, because I can actually teach, I can actually explain what's happening with the weather. And yeah, I've been on here for an hour, but it didn't seem to me like that because I was just going on, and then all of a sudden I look at the clock and it's like it's going on 8 o'clock. But sometimes that's what it takes, because I want you guys to understand what's going to take place. So there you go. I'll keep an eye on it tomorrow, of course, and do another update and let you know if anything else comes from that. And right now, this would be a good time to talk to you about R&R controls and getting a generator. Because I do think Sunday, the winds could be strong enough to knock out power. The last time we had a system like this a few weeks ago, we had numerous power outages without having a tornado or without having that many severe thunderstorm warnings. You need a generator. A Generac, the number one name in generators, and R&R Controls can come to your house or come to your business and see exactly what you need. They have small generators, and then they have the big kahunas that that look like they're little small buildings. Like, hey, what does that part of the building do? Oh, it's a generator. Yes. How many kilowatts do you need? You don't know, but I bet R&R does, because they'll come out, look at your square footage, and they'll see what all is tied into your system, and then they'll set up the right size generator for your home. And the next time the winds blow and the storms rage and the ice and the snow comes and knocks out your power, you'll keep right on going, because you will not be without power. R&R Controls, 270-777-2024. Or you can get a hold of them, rnrhvac.com, or you can go rnrcontrols.com. 270-777-2024. With R&R Controls, you'll never be without. Now, watch this. I have 3, 2, 1 second, and it's now an hour exactly, and I'm finished. God bless you. Thank you for watching 270 Weather and for watching me on News 40 WNKY, on News 40 sunrise, News 40 at 9, News 40 at noon every weekday. But this weekend, when I'm not on there, I'm on here watching the weather. Thank you and God bless.